It's just a ribbon of asphalt that runs diagonally across the United States of America. But this ribbon of asphalt ties the country together. More than a road, Route 66 symbolizes the American spirit.
It's freedom, it's the open road, and it's America personified.
The siren song of manifest destiny amplified through a muffler, echoing through the open spaces of the former frontier. We answered the call and returned to the Mother Road to finish our western passage through New Mexico, Arizona, and California. In search of America's mythical highway, the Mother Road, Route 66.
One of the most amazing things about Route 66 is this: it doesn't exist.
Both historic and decommissioned, Route 66 still connects more than points on a map. It connects writers and ramblers, poets and drifters, dreamers and researchers.
To think if Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck were around 60,000 years ago, this crater wouldn't be here. Cue Aerosmith.
Route 66 connects the past with the present and still leaves you asking questions.
What is it about Route 66 that will make a grown man saddle up on a rabbit? I have no idea.
It's the quintessential American road trip.
I think it's just part of our heritage of moving around and wanting to travel and moving from the East Coast to the West Coast, the manifest destiny.
The shield itself represents freedom, and that has endured throughout all of the different lives Route 66 has had. Whether it was an official highway or not, people still knew Route 66 is the way west.
One of the most amazing things about Route 66 is this: it doesn't exist. See, Route 66 has not been an official U.S. highway since 1985. So technically and officially, this road doesn't exist.
It's still the most important of those old two-lane roads. And a lot of it has to do with the geography, anchored by two big, wonderful cities, and all that terrain it covers on its circuitous journey, winding through 3 time zones all the way out to the Pacific.
This highway connects more than Chicago to the beaches of California.
The whole highway is a bridge between the past, the present, and even the future, as we even have an electric vehicle museum now on Route 66.
This road is a survivor, and it survived many incarnations along the way. The roaring 20s, the dirty 30s, the 1-2 punch of Depression and Dust Bowl.
You had the Okies and the Arkies moving from Arkansas and Oklahoma during the Dust Bowl days across Route 66, which is documented in Grapes of Wrath.
Well, Route 66 isn't our most historic or most scenic highway, but from its inception, it's always had the best press and publicity. Movies, books, TV shows.
Movies like Disney's Cars.
Cars didn't drive on it to make great time. They drove on it to have a great time.
That movie came out and business on stretches of 66 went up 30%.
Michael Wallace would know. He wrote the book that inspired Cars, and he's the voice of the sheriff.
Our series of Cars movies went around the world, and it's turned on a whole new generation of kids and other people who come to the road.
Got these great stories all up and down the highway, and that's what the internationals, one of the things the internationals see, that the entire history of the United States is encapsulated in this highway.
You have international visitors that will restore cars, ship them to Chicago, and drive all the way out to California because this is their #1 bucket list item because of what the road means to them and what it represents.
I had a fellow from the Czech Republic sum it up really nice why the international interest. He said growing up behind the Iron Curtain, listening to Radio Free America and watching bootleg copies of Easy Rider, He said Route 66 came to symbolize for his generation freedom that the Statue of Liberty had given to a previous generation.
The most famous highway in the world. Traveling Route 66 is a journey worthy of more seat time.
It's not the destination, it's the journey. It's all about the journey.
I think I found an easier way to get off. I'm not sure about this. Not sure at all. Okay, saddle up.
We start from where we ended last year, the Texas-New Mexico state line and the ghost town of Glen Rio, westward to Tucumcari. Last year, we journeyed through the heart of the heartland along Route 66. We ended in the ruins of Glen Rio, a ghost town that straddles the Texas and New Mexico state line.
Glen Rio had a very diverse agricultural economy at one point. In the teens, they even had a weekly newspaper there. They had a hotel, lumber company, but they also had a railroad.
The entire town was bypassed when I-40 came through. It's the story of cars come to life.
All of a sudden, they funneled traffic a mile from downtown. You're done.
1 year later, as we continue our quest west, Glen Rio is not ready to give up the ghost. There are plans to revitalize the old cafe and motel and add a dispensary on the New Mexico side. History repeats itself.
Deaf Smith County in Texas is dry. New Mexico wasn't dry, so all your liquor establishments were on the New Mexico side of town.
We'll leave the future in the rearview mirror and head westward into a nostalgic past where the asphalt disappears.
This is where our tour ended last year, Glen Rio, New Mexico. And this is where we pick up the adventure. And if this unpaved portion of Route 66 is foreshadowing our trip, we are in for a bumpy ride.
No pavement, no signs, and I don't have any confirmed plans. This might be a good time to say that outside of meeting our experts, nothing on this trip is set up. Nothing. No reservations, no permission, and still no one in sight.
Interstate 40 may be just a mile or two over there, but right now it's just me and the buzzards. And the buzzards are circling.
Did I mention we had no plans?
Can't see how the Jode family and other Okies made it down these roads in those old jalopies. Sure they needed to find a chiropractor when they got to LA.
For 14 glorious bone-shaking miles, you get a feel for the early days of Route 66. Wide open spaces. But that haunting, beautiful desolation is a myth, because you are not alone.
Oh, there's a snake! Holy moly, did I run it over? I hope so. Oh, it's a rattler. Okay, all right, we're still on Route 66, right? We're still on Route 66. Are we still on Route 66? Are we going the right way? We're heading west. Hi. We'll say hi to your aunts and uncles up there. Bye, baby. Rattlers and cows. Welcome to New Mexico. It's beautiful, though. It's just beautiful.
But there's something about crossing from Texas into New Mexico. It just always felt like the skies opened up, and always just thought that felt like freedom. It just feels open and inviting and possibility.
The possibility that Larry Smith would be the owner-operator of the iconic Motel Safari didn't even exist when he first stopped in the land of enchantment.
What was funny is Tucumcari is what sparked my interest, because I was moving at one point in my younger days, moving from Knoxville to Los Angeles. My friend and I stopped here to stay the night because it was an interesting name for a town, and I remembered it for a few dollars more.
Giving up more than a few dollars more, Larry and his trusty sidekick Sam answered the call of the Mother Road.
Decided it was time for a change, didn't want to do the corporate thing, decided want to do something with meaning and purpose, which brought me to Route 66. It's a hard thing to put into words, but there's something about that road from going Chicago to LA, changing landscape, the people, the culture, the food, the nostalgia, of course. All of it just kind of works together, and to me, it's a perfect slice through America.
For a perfect slice of nostalgia with a side of modern comfort, there is the Rockabilly Suite.
Oh, man. Oh, my goodness. Is this door a time machine? Because I just stopped in the 1957.
We really wanted this to feel like a time capsule.
It is.
But still have that, the rockabilly, rock and roll, early rock and roll spirit. So Wanda Jackson, it's also known as the Wanda Jackson Suite. She headlined the first Rockabilly on the Route festival here in Tucumcari several years ago and stayed. So yeah, this is my favorite room, easily.
True time capsule to Route 66.
Yes.
This is the stop where you can actually go back in time.
But Route 66 can't go back in time. A few miles away from Larry's Hotel is the constant reminder of what the Super Slab has done to this town. But things are changing, and recent events call for some retro reservations.
A lot of people are drawn to us because of the motor court. There's no hallways, no elevators, no common spaces, so during COVID, people kind of rediscovered, oh yeah, remember motor courts?
Don't really remember motor courts.
Well, it's where you could pull in and park at your door, and a lot of them, the Blue Swallow is a great example. It still has the original garages by the rooms, and that's very rare.
Sleeping with your car by your side, parked on America's Main Street, you are writing your own novel, your own story. And Tucumcari is one heck of a chapter.
Tucumcari, which was always that first real stop into that chapter of the trip, is really cool. And I just hope they get that same exhilarating feeling that I get. And I still get that when I'm crossing back over into New Mexico. It just feels like just freedom and openness.
Our road story continues as we head west when Driven continues. In his novel, The Grapes of Wrath, John Steinbeck called Route 66 the Mother Road because it offered hope to the desperate. He also said that interstates are a great way to travel between New York and Los Angeles and see nothing. Interstates made travel too easy. You have to work for Route 66.
What I'm very careful to do is not overly romanticize this trip. This is not a particularly easy journey.
If we break down on this part of Route 66, the only people that are going to find us are buzzards and extraterrestrials.
If I'm going anywhere, I go prepared. And on Route 66, there are some things you cannot leave home without.
Water, phone charger, maps, real maps, not just your GPS, because so many people get lost.
Maps, we got. But we need water. And in New Mexico, Santa Rosa's Blue Hole has plenty.
Oh, that's cold! By the way, those bubbles are scuba divers. It's not me. Let's be clear about it. These bubbles are scuba divers, not me.
Yeah.
There are scuba divers here. The Blue Hole is one of the most popular dive destinations in the U.S. Right here in the middle of the Red Mesa. Leave the bottled water and desert behind and jump into the spring-fed, crystal-clear waters that are constantly 62 degrees. Santa Rosa's Blue Hole is unexpected underwater fun. And another unexpected find along this stretch of the old highway is the Route 66 Auto Museum. James Bozo Cordova has been rebuilding and restoring vehicles for over 40 years. Now with this museum, he and his family are bringing back chrome classics to the road they once ruled.
One of the interesting things about the Route 66 Auto Museum is that you can actually buy one of these works of art. $80,000 for a Woody. I might need this when I hit the Pacific Ocean. I mean, where am I gonna put my surfboard?
There are over 30 cars, trucks, and whatever that beast is on display and for sale. This mother lode on the Mother Road is at least a conversation starter.
I know, but it's only $80,000 and I can drive it home.
Another thing about Route 66 that makes it fun, Route 66 has always been the highway of dreams.
Back on the road without my Woody, but looking forward to a treat that I could afford waiting for me in Albuquerque. For 17 miles, Route 66 runs through the heart of a city that blends the myths of the American West with a modern, multicultural metropolis. Did I just say blend? It's time for treats at the 66 Diner. This much photographed, internationally known stop is a cruise back to the collective American memory of what Route 66 was or was supposed to be. And for those who travel it today, it's what they hope to find. I was hoping to find a real shake whipped up by a real soda jerk at a real soda fountain. Dreams do come true on Route 66.
Oh, it takes you back to a time before carbs, before macros, before intermittent fasting. The other thing that I've discovered on Route 66, if you are eating on the actual route, on the old highway, anything you eat, no calories, calorie-free.
We want people to experience that real America, where you go into a Pie Palace or a Greasy Spoon and you have no idea what's going to happen. You might find a blue plate special that you kill your mother for.
Don't touch my mama, but this is a shake I would dethrone a king for.
The Elvis, it's peanut butter, it's bananas, and it turns you into Elvis right away. Man, this is amazing. It is so good.
There are tourists and there are travelers. Tourists, when they leave, they take everything from home with them. Travelers try things that are new. You have to be a risk taker. There's always a little bit of adventure. That's what I'm telling you. That's what makes traveling good. You know, you don't want to be a tourist. You want to be a traveler.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Up next, our travels continue as we get more kicks on Route 66 when Driven returns. In New Mexico, the Mother Road seems less like America's Main Street and more like a magical mystery tour. The enchantment of this land is in its ability to make time disappear, yet remain unchanged.
Route 66 is best described as a string of living time capsules.
Our travels had taken us almost across the state when we reached the Continental Divide, where all America's rivers flow either to the Pacific or to the Atlantic.
This is the kind of landmark you had to stop at on Route 66 during its heyday. Not only are you impressed that you're at this elevation, but you learn something geographical. Yes, driving can be educational.
We can also learn something from the friends we meet.
We're heading west to the Pacific Ocean.
Okay.
What do I need?
Patience, sunscreen, comfortable shoes, umbrella,
Umbrella.
sunglasses.
Got the sunglasses. I have all that except for patience.
55 all the way.
At that speed, you can learn more.
You're right here on the Continental Divide, right?
Yes. The highest point on Route 66.
But when you travel Route 66, you see there's no division. This road brings people together, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. All kinds of people. Foreign, everyone.
I want to break out in a kumbaya. Is that okay?
Sure. We'd watch.
We'd watch.
We've allowed ourselves to become very divided as a people and seeing it as an us versus them. And when you travel this road, you realize that America is a diverse country. And that's our strength, that's our vibrancy, that's our color, That's the zest, if you will.
To me, when I see a map of the country and Route 66, what I don't see are state lines or county borders or city limits. I see a seamless, winding, linear village.
There is still the Continental Divide.
Atlantic, Pacific. Atlantic, Pacific. And that's the way we're going.
Westward through the song-mentioned town of Gallup and the El Rancho Hotel, where the stars from Hollywood's golden age like John Wayne stayed while they made movie magic in the desert. Here, the painted desert needs no special effects. In Arizona, we follow Route 66 to the only national park it goes through. Ancient and astonishing, and otherworldly. A world made 225 million years ago. A 1932 Studebaker marks the old highway's path. It also marks a meeting point for a new friend.
Why does a guy from the UK want to travel the entire length of Route 66?
Well, one, because it's there, the history. When you compare America to England, we've got nothing like this in England whatsoever.
It's the allure of limitless possibilities along the open American road.
No, we've got picturesque stuff in the UK, but nothing like this, you know, a lot smaller. To do these miles we're taking 3 weeks to do it. We're going to end up doing 3,200 miles. You can't do that sort of miles in England.
One of the things the internationals see, that the entire history of the United States is encapsulated in this highway.
The painted desert reveals more. It reveals the planet's history before time and the connection we all have to each other. Our travels through Arizona continues on the next chapter of Driven's journey on Route 66. It's a highway with its own theme song. A song that is an open invitation for an adventure through its wide open spaces. A musical call to road trip.
Well, Route 66 isn't our most historic or most scenic highway, but from its inception, it's always had the best press and publicity.
What other road has had a great hit song written about it, like my old pal Bobby Troup, who was the most incredible guy you'll ever know.
If you ever plan to motor west, travel my way, take the highway, that's the best.
He was in a diner and his wife came up with the line of getting your kicks on Route 66 and he dashed off the song.
That song that Bobby wrote when he got out of the Marines in '46 and drove out to LA to meet his idol, Nat King Cole, that song became our anthem. It's been re-recorded 250 times. Depeche Mode, the Rolling Stones have re-recorded that song, that anthem, Get Your Kicks.
When Troup's tune became electrified by Chuck Berry, it amplified the rebellion of a rock and roll generation. There were kicks to be got on Route 66, and those kicks still exist. We continue our rite of passage on the Mother Road through Arizona in search of America's mythical highway, Route 66. Bobby Troup's worldwide hit beckoned an international audience to take the highway that's the best. And like Warren Hyder from the United Kingdom, that call is best answered over a long 3-week road trip.
I'm looking forward to do all of it, not to get it over and done with, but to have the memories from start to finish. That's what I'm looking forward to, so we can reflect on what we've seen and what we've done.
Reflection is needed because it's more than a vacation. It's a pilgrimage.
For the internationals, Route 66 is a destination in itself. It's astounding when you think about it. This is just a road. But yet we have Route 66 associations in Australia, Japan, throughout Europe.
Folks from Europe, folks from other parts of the United States still look to Route 66 as the symbol of American freedom and the fact that you can just get in your car and go wherever you want, whenever you want.
We're going to Holbrook, Arizona.
There's so much left of motels and old gas stations and interesting attractions there.
One of the most memorable Route 66 landmarks in Holbrook is the Wigwam Village, which opened in 1950. This is a motor court with a theme, a complete throwback to what Western movies of the 1940s thought the West looked like. Not very historically accurate, but a textbook definition of the phrase roadside attraction, complete with a collection of classic cars still waiting to get back on the old highway. But when it comes to grabbing attention, nothing can compete with the trading posts of Arizona.
We're getting our kitsch on Route 66.
An authentic trading post, if you will, as they were on Route 66, tourist traps, I guess you'd call it.
Calling it a trap would imply that you couldn't leave. Here at the Jackrabbit Trading Post west of Joseph City, not only do folks want to stay, they keep coming back year after year.
A lot of the families that would come here are generational, so we got to know them, and we still know a lot of them. And then we see their kids, the next generation's coming up, and it's just like a generational thing, and it is a family way of life.
Watching the miles pass with the Jackrabbit signs have become a Route 66 tradition.
We always hear the stories of my parents brought us here, and we always ask, well, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Watch for the signs. The closer you get, the lower they get, until finally here it is.
It opened about 1949, and the same family's been doing this since about 1960 out there.
When my grandparents had it in 61, 66 was right here, so it was always year-round business. My parents took over, we had the bypass in 69 already, it bypassed in 67. So it was like mostly summer. When we took over in 90 to 95 and bought 95, it's sporadic. But now we're still hopping, so here we are.
When you go to the Jackrabbit, you get a sense of what it was like to travel in a 55 Pontiac, family vacations in the old station wagon. It's a throwback, it's a tangible link.
Not everyone is traveling Route 66 in a station wagon today. In fact, some aren't even using a car. Bike riders from Crossroads Cycling Adventures were making their annual stop at the Jackrabbit as part of their cross-country journey.
This is just one of the places that is so scenic and well known through the history of Route 66. You can't go through here without stopping at the Jackrabbit Trading Post. So we stop here every year and have one of our rest stops here.
For Rick Wardell, the Jackrabbit has become less of a tourist stop and more like a family reunion.
When we come through here in 1997, the first year that Crossroads was in business, Cindy, one of the owners of Jackrabbit, was pregnant with one of her daughters, Izzy. And we've seen Izzy grow up every year that we've come through. Izzy has now had a child, so we're seeing Izzy's children. So we're seeing grandchildren all the way down.
The cyclists from Crossroads are making their way from LA to Boston, with a good chunk of their route carved out on the Mother Road.
What is it like riding a bike on Route 66?
Oh goodness, it's looking at the history of the United States and seeing the United States from a perspective that you don't see in a car. And one of the best things about Route 66 and everywhere else in the United States is all the great people you meet.
People like Cindy and Tony at the Jackrabbit Trading Post.
And they're the most wonderful folks. They have a passion for it. And that's another reason that Route 66 is best described as a string of living time capsules.
Because people are the road. You know, there's landmarks and there's things to see, but it's really getting to talk and hear the stories of these people that have made a living on the road and have lived on the road their whole life. That's the important part of the experience.
If the Jackrabbit Trading Post isn't here, then Route 66.
66 dies. Yeah. But we tell people all the time, tell everybody you're still hopping on Route 66.
Yeah, get out there and do it. I mean, you gotta do it. Yeah.
They're one of the reasons you stay a little longer.
I think I found an easier way to get off. I'm not sure about this. Not sure at all. Okay, saddle up.
Up next,
Standing on the corner in Winslow, Arizona. Such a fine sight to see.
our journey west takes us to Winslow, Arizona, where the road tunes have been predetermined.
There's only one way to do it.
Cranking some music that is as close to the Eagles as copyright laws will allow. Bobby Troupe's Route 66 isn't the only hit song to lure travelers to the Mother Road. The Eagles' first hit, Take It Easy, has been enticing visitors from around the world to loiter on a street corner and sing like no one's listening.
Standing on the corner in Winslow, Arizona, it was
such a fine sight to see.
It's a girl, my lord.
There you go. Flatbed Ford slowing down to
take a look at me.
In 1999, the city of Winslow dedicated this corner as Standing on the Corner Park, and a major roadside attraction was born.
One of the biggest attractions in not only in Winslow, but all the way across Arizona's Route 66.
He said, can we stop in Winslow, Arizona?
So we can stand on the corner in Winslow, Arizona.
No, and I said, because you want to stand on the corner? And she said, yes. And I said, it's such a fine sight to see.
And there's your flatbed Ford. But all I'm hearing is Don Henley music.
The song was written by the Eagles' Glenn Frey and his neighbor, the one and only Jackson Browne.
Does this look like Jackson Browne?
It was Browne who started writing the song, and recently the corner, the girl, and the Ford are being called into question.
It's come out over the years that the song was inspired when Jackson Browne was in Flagstaff and his car broke down, and he's hanging out on the street corner in front of a place called the Der Wiener Schnitzel hot dog stand, the big A-frame Der Wiener Schnitzel there in Flagstaff on Route 66.
I can confirm that there is an old hot dog stand on Route 66 in Flagstaff, but there was no girl in a Ford truck anywhere to be seen.
Jackson Browne was inspired about that by a girl in a Toyota or a Datsun pickup while he was standing in front of Der Wiener Schnitzel. So if there's standing on a corner park in Arizona, it should be in Flagstaff.
The truth doesn't seem to faze the fans.
Near a Der Wiener Schnitzel in Flagstaff.
Really? Well, that doesn't rhyme. It doesn't go.
Der Wiener Schnitzel in Flagstaff.
All right. Was there a girl involved?
There was a girl.
Okay, well that's all that really matters, right?
Well, rhyming the word Der Wiener Schnitzel.
Yeah.
Yeah, what does that rhyme with?
Nothing.
Yeah.
What rhymes with Der Wiener Schnitzel?
I don't think anything does.
That's why it's a flatbed Ford.
What?
Well, so we have to go to Flagstaff to find a...
No, it's fine. You're good. You're good. You're good right now, just
Thank
with
you,
the flatbed Ford in front of you.
Yeah. I think I like the Ford better.
The Wiener Schnitzel, yes.
Der Wiener Schnitzel doesn't rhyme with anything, so Glenn Frey and Jackson Browne took the easy way.
Take it easy.
They did take it easy.
It's not the backstory that draws you into the song. It's the adventure of the open road.
Oh, I'm working art here. Trying to work art. Let me see. This is probably better.
Another big hit is our next stop. An earth-shaking hit that rocked these parts over 50,000 years ago. This is Meteor Crater, the best preserved meteorite impact on Earth. So much so that it was where the Apollo astronauts trained for their moon mission in the 1960s.
To think if Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck were around 60,000 years ago, this crater wouldn't be here. Cue Aerosmith.
To give you a better idea of the crater size, imagine 20 football games being played at the same time on its floor. It's a big hole. Research still continues today at the site, and the Barringer Space Museum makes for an out-of-this-world visit. Otherworldly describes our trek west as Route 66 disappears into the ranch lands around Two Guns, a ghost town of deserted attractions, including the remains of a zoo where mountain lions were held captive. But the ghosts here go back farther than the road's history.
Get a four-wheel drive vehicle on Route 66. It'll give you access to some unbelievable tales and legends, like the legend of the Apache Death Cave.
The cave that runs underneath the buildings was said to be the site of a gruesome massacre of the Navajo by the Apache. Later that same day, Navajo scouts tracking the Apache found them camping in the cave system and set the caves on fire, burning all alive. There are differing accounts, but there is no questioning that history hangs heavy here in Diablo Canyon. Further down 66, Twin Arrow Trading Post conjures up another kind of ghost. The shop was closed in the 90s, but it was still often photographed. That may change.
2 years ago, this was 2 arrows. Now it's just 1. Things change on Route 66 all the time. Sometimes, not for the better. Might need to hit the road right now before it's not even there.
Up next, Williams, Arizona has things looking up on the Mother Road. When Driven continues. As the Mother Road rambles towards Flagstaff, the vast landscape of the desert gives way to the vertical vista of the mountain.
You've been in the desert for, hundreds and hundreds of miles across Oklahoma, Texas, and New Mexico, and then now you're coming up to 7,000 feet. There's a forest and the San Francisco peaks there with the snow capped on them, and it's one of the most beautiful spots along Route 66 is the Flagstaff area and the natural beauty there.
Even though Flagstaff is a modern college town, echoes of the old highway still remain. Westward we head to Route 66's official last stand.
In October 1984, Williams was the last town bypassed.
Even on that day, the rebellious nature of Williams and Route 66 had an encore number.
Bobby Troup was invited to cut the ribbon when I-40 bypassed Route 66. And after he cuts the ribbon and plays this song, he says, "You know what?" He goes, "I hope you tear this freeway down and go back to Route 66, which I'm sure isn't exactly what the state and federal highway officials wanted to hear.
Bobby said what the town of Williams thought. Giving up was not part of this town's nature. Known as the gateway to the Grand Canyon, the town more than survived. Williams does have a history of interesting business adventures, to say the least. But some new attractions are bringing the town up.
Welcome to the newest Canyon Coaster Adventure Park in Williams, Arizona.
You control the speed on this coaster. You can actually go 30 miles an hour and pull 1 G. I'm ready to pull some G's right here. No idea what that means.
Just the Canyon Coaster's 1,200-foot high ascent is worth the price of admission.
Nice, easy ride up to the top with a beautiful view of Williams and the mountains and the gateway to the Grand Canyon. It's a pretty, pretty view. It's gonna get pretty exciting.
Exciting for kids of all ages.
Hello, Williams. Yeah, here we go. Woohoo!
There's a lot of families that come through Williams on their way up to the Grand Canyon, and it's right on Route 66.
This brings you back to the heyday of Route 66, when adventure was around every corner.
Everything we've actually designed was around Route 66. So we've tried to keep everything all in that theme, and also being a mountain theme.
What's 1G? I don't know, but I'm pulling it now. Wait till I hit this turn.
Got that 360 turn that you're gonna do, and if you're pushing all the way down, going as fast as you can, hitting about 27, 30 miles an hour, you'll hit about a G.
I can't put my hands up in the air and go, whee, because I'm actually driving it. Holy moly. Great googly boogly. Oh yeah. How's my hair look? This is awesome.
the adventure park has more adventures like the year-round mountain tubing.
And now for the Olympic luge team. The host of Driven, Tom Gregory. Hey! Why am I spinning? Why am I spinning? Why am I going backwards again? Ah!
In the future, Canyon Coaster has other attractions planned, so the only thing looking down is the visitors.
Oh, I think the future is so bright. Williams, Arizona is a destination, and the town has been phenomenal and very supportive.
Route 66 has always been about attractions.
This has always been a commercial road. It's about selling you a room for the night, a refrigerator magnet, a tank of gas, a hamburger, a book, a dream,
and maybe a manly scream. Up next, the family that fought back and made Route 66 history. When Driven continues.
The longest continual stretch of Route 66 starts back in Ash Fork, but it might not have been if not for a family right here in Seligman, Arizona.
Seligman is now known as the birthplace of historic Route 66 because of the Delgadillo family.
My dad, my Uncle Juan, saved a bit of Americana. Now Route 66 is known all over the world. It's preserved, protected, and promoted here in the United States.
Clarice's dad, Angel Delgadillo, had an idea to save his community from death by interstate.
Let's get Route 66 designated historic. We have the longest remaining stretch left in the whole country. It starts 17 miles east of here and goes all the way to the California border. So we thought, let's save it.
Angel founded the historic Route 66 Association of Arizona, and together, this group fought the good fight.
They fought for 10 years, no economy, no food on the table, no customers coming in. Took 10 years for it finally to be designated historic in April of 1988. But my dad's idea was not that we would become a gift shop and sell Route 66 products. He was just hoping to get the traveling public to come into our town, eat in our restaurant, stay in our hotel, come get a haircut, come shoot some pool, because this was a pool hall and a barber shop. That was his vision, but what happened was greater than anything he could ever imagine, that the whole world would fall in love with Route 66 and want to come visit us and travel Route 66 from one end to the other.
This was more than business for the Delgadillos. The road was family.
He was born on the original alignment of Route 66, which is one block south of here.
The family witnessed the western flight of those escaping the Dust Bowl. In fact, at one time, the family was packed and ready to follow their way west.
My dad's family, they were all loaded up, all 9 children. My grandmother, my grandfather, getting ready to move to California along with everyone else, looking for a better way of life.
But then, the power of music intervened, and the future guardian angel of Route 66 and his family stayed here in Seligman.
My dad's family is part of a band, and there were 4 brothers who were musicians. The band leader was going to lose his band when he heard the Delgadillos were loading up and leaving, so he found my Uncle Juan a job and kept the family here in Seligman on Route 66.
It was like the big band music.
Really? Mm-hmm. So Seligman was swinging with your family?
Oh, they had little dances all the time. Everybody loves music. It puts a smile on everybody's face, you know. Music heals.
Oh man, that is big band.
That's our dad. That's our cousin. That's me, of course. That's Uncle Angel. That's our brother Bob. He passed away of cancer. That's our cousin Myrna.
Did your dad and his brother realize what they meant to Route 66?
I think they had a vision, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
I really think they had a vision.
Before my dad passed away, he knew what he had done as far as bringing the road back with my Uncle Angel.
Right.
Bringing the road back and putting Seligman back on the map.
Right.
On the next Driven, we spend more time with the Delgadillos and then continue west to the Pacific and the last stop on Route 66. It was a highway left for dead. The government decertified it. They took away its name, and they called it Progress.
Route 66 has not been an official U.S. highway since 1985. So technically and officially, this road doesn't exist.
Whether it was an official highway or not, people still knew Route 66 is the way west. So I'm going to get in the car with my family, I'm going to take a drive, and we're going to be in control of our own journey and get to experience some of the greatest things this country has to offer.
They could remove the shield, but not what the shield meant to people. Hopes and memories heading in different directions, but on one road, the Mother Road.
And just because you take down the shields doesn't mean that those people aren't there, that those restaurants aren't there, that those motels aren't there, that the natural sites along the road are there.
Because people are the road. You know, there's landmarks and there's things to see, but it's really getting to talk and hear the stories of these people that have made a living on the road and have lived on the road their whole life. That's the important part of the experience.
That's the essence of Route 66. It's the vibrancy, the passion, the interesting people you meet along the way. That's what gives it a unique flavor.
It had been decertified and the shields had been taken down, but the people were still out there, and the people are the best resource along Route 66. I knew that Angel Delgadillo was still cutting hair out in Seligman, Arizona.
We just got a motorcycle group from France. We see 80% of our visitors annually are international. The Americans are still learning about Route 66 after almost 100 years.
You can learn a lot about Route 66 right here in Seligman, Arizona. About a month ago, Angel Delgadillo retired from his barbershop at the age of 95. But he's still the guardian angel of the Mother Road. Angel spearheaded the historic Route 66 Association of Arizona, a preservation movement that brought Route 66 back from the dead.
The state finally got on board in the late 80s after quite a bit of prodding from the association and designated a historic highway. And so that was a big move.
Angel and his brother Juan and their entire family were instrumental in the fight to bring back life to their town.
It says, sorry, we're open. This door isn't working.
Now their children continue the fight and are also the life of the party. If you can get into the party, a Delgadillo snow cap. The old fake doorknob trick.
I saw you.
And you were laughing.
I was laughing at you.
laughing.
I was like, where is he going now? And I'm like, oh my
You weren't
goodness.
laughing with me. You
I was
were
laughing.
at
No,
you.
I was laughing with you.
No,
Weren't you
weren't.
laughing?
I was laughing at you.
Even if you see the joke coming, you still laugh.
Today is a big day. What is today?
Our father's birthday. His birthday, 106 years old.
106 years old.
Yes, sir.
So who put 2 doorknobs on the door?
That young man did.
That.
Who's got the mustard shooting at people?
This man.
And you guys are following the tradition.
Oh, we're keeping up his legacy,
We added
absolutely.
straws to our repertoire.
But the impact of the Delgadillos is no joke.
Has anybody come in here in a bad mood?
Yes.
No way.
Yes, and then
And
we
they leave happy.
we change their
If they
attitude.
can find how to get out.
Yeah.
There is no reason to be in a hurry. There's a lot to learn and love here in Seligman. But the old highway beckons us to Kingman for the only stop we have scheduled on this entire trip, meeting the storyteller Jim Hinckley.
So where has Route 66 brought you?
Well, you know what's funny? Like say, I been on this road almost all my life, and to me it was just a road. It was comfortable, like an old pair of shoes, with jeans, or a good saddle. And I'm just amazed the friendships, the people I've met that have become almost like family to me. And I never in my wildest imagination that Route 66 would take me from here, backwaters of Arizona, to places like in Poland, and listening to a drunk Polish polka band play Route 66, or attend the European Route 66 Festival in Ofterding in Germany, or towing a Fiats down the Autobahn on a rope. It's all Route 66 related.
All because of this road.
All because of this road.
We met at Dutton Motors Dream Machines.
This is another one of those great living time capsules you find on Route 66. But this dealership, like I say, has been here since 1946. Shortly after it opened, it was bought by N.R. Dutton.
The Dutton family has owned it ever since.
These cars were so big they didn't come with a VIN number, they had their own zip code.
It now houses a museum and, yes, a sales lot.
And if you want to take the dream home, you can.
Yes, sir, Bob. By all means, everything here is for sale, except the Shelby. Probably even sell the dog before he'd part with that one.
For something a little more within my budget, the Duttons have Mr. D's Route 66 Diner, which dates back to 1939.
Route 66 has always been in a state of evolution. The Route 66 of 1930 is not the Route 66 of 1950 or 1980.
What makes the road stories that Jim and Michael Wallace tell about the Mother Road so compelling is that they tell the true story.
Route 66 and other old roads, two-lane roads, are like mirrors held up to the country. They reflect what it's like everywhere.
There's a problem here. We get into this, we don't want to talk about our past, but it's important because we see these things as milestones on how far we progressed and how far we've got to go.
What I'm very careful to do is not overly romanticize this trip. And there are cold, hard truths to be learned out there. In its heyday, Nat King Cole couldn't have gone into the most humble diner on Route 66. He couldn't have stayed at the Blue Swallow Motel. He would have had to seek out quarters somewhere in the black part of town.
The Green Book was a traveling guide for African American travelers so that they could find safe lodging on the road.
And that was a book that saved many lives because it told black people where they could safely stay and what towns were sundown towns.
The Green Book for the Negro motorist was a very important part of travel on Route 66. Here in Kingman, we had dozens and dozens of motels. We had one that would offer service to African Americans.
This is that motel, the White Rock Court, a rare auto court that was listed in the Green Book and now stands as a reminder that the good old days were not always good for all Americans.
When I think about what people call the good old days, I think it depends on your perspective. When I'm an 8-year-old kid from St. Louis cruising down the road with my parents, I was having a ball. But if I'd been an 8-year-old black kid, a whole nother world.
When we return, it's an Arizona Sidewinder. We drive the most challenging part of Route 66 when Driven returns. Leaving Kingman, Arizona, we left any hint of the interstate and taking it easy far behind. America's Main Street now becomes the Oatman Highway. It is Route 66 at its most unforgiving.
Going through Oatman, you'll find the steepest grades and the sharpest curves anywhere on Route 66. Grades are over 12% out there in that mountain pass.
An old gas station is your last chance to turn around.
This is Cool Springs, the inspiration for Radiator Springs in the movie Cars. It also stands at the base of an 8-mile Sidewinder.
When it was bypassed, Cool Springs Service Station was left for ruin. And then it was blown up in the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie Universal Soldier in 1991. Now, it's been carefully restored to its former glory, and it's the place to meet new old friends before the climb.
The road continues for you guys?
Here we are, we're still on it, still doing it.
It's an 8-mile Sidewinder. You ready?
Yeah, ready for it, yeah.
I've come to believe most things in the movie Cars are real, except for the fact that Sally and McQueen drove this at high speeds. I don't believe so. That's cartoon magic, folks. They should rename this Cast Iron Pass because you need a cast iron stomach. Make this one work.
Oatman Highway has challenged courage and camshafts for decades, and not all the drivers and vehicles were up to the challenge.
In the book by Jack Rittenhouse, A Guidebook to Highway 66, published in 1946, they noted that there was a towing service for cars that could not make the grade going over Sitgreaves Pass.
With beautiful views like this, you may want to look at the scenery. But with a road with this many turns, I'm going to say keep your eyes on the road and your hands upon the wheel. Cue the doors.
Both elevation and blood pressure rise as Route 66 heads through the Black Mountains and up to 3,595 feet to Sitgreaves Pass.
We're going up through Sitgreaves Pass. It's just gorgeous. If the lens covers off, you got a picture.
Oh man, look at that view.
Sitgreaves Pass is a splendid drive if you're not afraid of heights. If you are, don't think about the guardrails because there are not many. At the scenic lookout, you can see Arizona, California, and Nevada, as well as memorials to the people who've had their ashes scattered among the winds. On the way to Oatman, there is more to see.
Back at Cool Springs, we were warned to watch out for burros on the road. Hello. Hello. We've reached some donkeys here, and they're not going to move. This is an Arizona standoff.
It is that whole Black Mountain section there, the Oatman Gold Road area, was the last great gold rush in Arizona starting around 1902. It was a boom town.
When the boom town went bust, the miners went, and the burros were just left and became semi-wild.
Welcome to Oatman. Ah, donkey. Get ready for Shrek imitations.
Strangely enough, that's the usual reaction to my sense of humor.
They've been coming to this town for over 100 years. These are descendants from the mining burros used in the gold mines from back in the day.
So they just...
Late 1800s, early 1900s, they've been coming here. They know where the free food is at.
So for 100 years, people have been feeding the donkeys.
Yep. For over 100 years in this town, they've been feeding the burros.
Oatman is unique. It's a caricature of what people expect from a mining town, with gunfights in the streets and different things of that nature. It's fun.
You're allowed 3 Shrek imitations when you're in Oatman. After 3, that's it. You have to stop. I have one more. Oh, donkey.
Okay.
Oatman does offer more than the burros. It's a brilliant place to unwind after white-knuckling the pass.
Oatman is neat. There's about 3 or 4 original buildings. The Oatman Hotel is one of the oldest and it's the tallest adobe building in Mojave County.
But honestly, it's hard to top Oatman's 4-legged residence.
This is where my career has reached its high point. From here, it's downhill. How can I get better than feeding donkeys? Hello, donkey.
Just a good, fun town. But without tourists in Route 66, they would have died on the vine.
You gotta get out of the road. We're gonna get you out of the road. You're blocking Route 66. Come on, there's cars waiting. This is Route 66. Come on, come on. I'm doing my best here, folks.
When we return, hopefully we can get back on the Mother Road when Driven continues. Route 66 along Oatman Highway is demanding and desolate, and a driver's dream.
This is our own canyon roller coaster. One of the best things about this old highway is when you're asked, well, what was your favorite part? the part you're on right now.
On this road trip, caught between the immensity and isolation of it all, you can't help but reflect on the people who've traveled this way before. This is where the grapes of wrath take root.
We're looking for the ghost of Tom Joad. It's parts like this of Route 66 that you wonder how the Okies actually made it in their jalopies over mountain ranges and deserts.
I didn't find the ghost of Tom Joad here on Route 66, but along this tattered tarmac, and in the words of John Steinbeck and John Ford's adaptation, I discovered how these real-life Joads made this impossible passage. It was by their sheer will.
But we keep a-comin'. We're the people that live. They can't wipe us out, they can't lick us. We'll go on forever, Pa, 'cause we're the people.
Hundreds of thousands of American-born migrants headed west to California during the Dust Bowl and Depression, searching not for a better life, but a job. Route 66 is their American story. The mountain pass descends to the Colorado River. The old Route 66 bridge that carried the refugees now carries pipelines. Here, a high-octane aqua oasis is inviting and exceedingly startling, like a spring break mirage, the last stop before the extremes of the demanding Mojave Desert.
But I like the desert. I'm one of the dry roasted nuts. I enjoy the desert country immensely. So all that stretch out around Amboy and Essex, Chambliss, Ludlow. If you want the real Route 66, what you do is turn off your air conditioner and drive the Mojave Desert, preferably in an old car that's going to overheat 3 or 4 times, and be sure to sleep along the highway in the dirt with the ants once in a while. And I said, then you got a real handle on what Route 66 was like.
The second to last town on Bobby Troupe's hit list, Barstow. Like other towns along Route 66, is working hard to bring back the Mother Road's mystique, partly by invoking stars of its past on murals. But nothing defines roadside attraction in the Mojave like the orchard of optical delight that is Elmer's Bottle Tree Ranch. This is art as wonder, the desert as canvas.
Elmer's Bottle Tree Ranch is more than a roadside attraction. It's a monument, a testament to a father and son, a testament to a family.
Elmer had dedicated his work to those who lived and died on the Mother Road, but it's also a testament to his father, who Elmer began collecting bottles with when he was young. When his father died, Elmer started the Tree Farm, a shrine in glass that has attracted the world. In 2019, Elmer passed away, and his family is working on preserving the family's shining legacy. The quirky desert town of Oro Grande belongs on Route 66. Places like the Iron Hog Saloon and Cross-Eyed Cow Pizza draw you off the highway with some recycled kitsch and some California craziness.
Nothing ever really goes to waste on Route 66. Got an old bike? Stick it on the roof. Got an old car? Stick it on the roof. Got an old beat-up caboose? Stick it on the side. Talk about an old beat-up caboose. That's what I'm sitting on right now. We have been pounding the road, and the road has been pounding back. On to Los Angeles, the city of dreams, the city of angels, the city of traffic jams.
The Mother Road navigates all the landscapes of Southern California. Deserts, mountains, valleys, and finally beaches. And then there is the sprawl. For fame or fortune, Americans moved west and urban sprawl moved east. It hits around San Bernardino, where the only other surviving Route 66 Wigwam Motel Village still operates. San Bernardino is also home to the first original McDonald's museum. The McDonald brothers started it all here on Route 66. Sold, schemed, or stolen, everything changed when Ray Kroc franchised the hamburger stand.
In the 50s and 60s, Route 66 was known for its drive-ins and diners. But when McDonald's expanded, the business that started on Route 66 ended up closing many of those businesses.
The popularity of hamburgers grew as travel times increased.
So there's 6 lanes of traffic totally stopped. Maybe that's why LA has such a great car culture, is because they have to spend so much time just sitting in their car. Just sitting.
If you time it right, you're always going to have traffic. But Route 66 in the metro LA area is just fascinating.
I did not time it right, but I did finally reach the Santa Monica Pier. This is not the original end of Route 66, but the pier is a true manifestation of our country's westward movement, taking Manifest Destiny all the way into the ocean. An amusement park pier is the perfect symbolic end to the greatest ride America has ever created, Route 66.
There's something about the magic of 66. It's a roll of the dice. It's an adventure.
It's the quintessential American road trip. It's freedom. It's the open road. And it's America personified.
Today, Route 66 is kind of that encouragement that, you know what, if you want to experience America, the road's still here. You can go out and do it, and it's all up to you, whatever you decide.
The one word you should never use at Route 66 is this: predictable. Nothing's predictable about it. It's a work in progress.
We finally made it to the end of Route 66, but as we've learned, the road never really ends. The old highway keeps on going as long as we continue to travel it and keep those stories with us. We will tell the story of America.